All right, we're on now.
Sounds good. Hello, everyone. Hello. I am Illegally Sam.
Hello.
I'm joined
I'm Glorious Cashew.
And as you can see, I will be doing a nice Levelhead speedrun here. And before we get started, there are actually a few options that we set, specifically instant buttons, because when I mess up, this lets me do it reset faster, because I will need that. And as you can see, there's also this cursor here.
That's nice.
I'm going to be putting that in a specific spot. You'll see why shortly. But with those two things set, we are good to get started here. So I will count that down. 3, 2, 1, go. Alright, so for anybody who does not know, Levelhead is an indie platformer with lots of great editing components. Because it has a really good level maker. Cashew, if you want to talk about that.
Yeah, it's basically like a Mario Maker. It's like a Mario Maker type game. It's mostly focused on creating your own levels, but there's also its own campaign.
Yeah, and if you might have noticed it right there, there's a bit of a skip in that level because we took a dev portal that skips about half the level that you're not supposed to get normally. There's going to be a lot of unintentional skips in this run, because most levels can be broken open with a little bit of knowledge.
It's super cool that they included a skip that uses some of the tech discovered by the community.
A lot of the skips are not intentional, but as they made more and more levels, they were made more and more aware of them. And as we get to this level here, that skip before, it used a tech. We call it a super jump. You saw another one right there. So basically, the gist of every level in this game is, you gotta grab the package and you gotta get to the goal. However, the package is more than just an item you grab. You can use it for platforming, you can use it for all sorts of things. And as you can see...
the variation... Yeah, right there was ceiling super jump, which was also used in the first level.
Yeah, so the basics of a super jump are you're jumping off of the package in midair. And so as long as both the package and GR18, which is the robot you are, as long as both of them are moving downwards, you can jump off of it while you're in midair. And so normally you can just throw it up and then jump off of it. But the idea behind a ceiling super jump is you throw it up off the ceiling, it bounces down to get a different angle, so you can jump more easily in tight spaces. And as you can also see, we're skipping all these cutscenes.
Basically all tech is just super jumps, or at least a majority of it.
This is one of the few tech that is not a super jump. That right there. These enemies are called scrubs. Yeah, when you kill a scrub, they drop a shell, and you can use that shell to just bounce off of it, and by throwing it against a wall while you're hugging the wall, you just get an extra jump in midair.
Good thing you got the armor.
Yes, that level
earlier.
That level has a very easy skip, since you can just damage boost over those spikes and skip a good chunk of the level. Because since you can go off camera in this game very easily, if the levels do not specifically have walls preventing you from going off the map, you can just go around most of the obstacles in the level. Alright, that right there is just... If he hadn't had the armor...
If he hadn't had the armor on that last level, he would have had to throw the package down and pick it back up very quickly to get over it.
Yeah, because something that is a mechanic that we use, I messed it up right there, but when you throw items down in this game, you get a little boost of momentum upwards, and that can be used to traverse obstacles just by throwing items down, or you can use it to reach gaps that you can't, like platforms you can't normally reach, and that's used a lot in just the game as a whole.
And another super jump.
Something worth mentioning right there if you notice that the goal has those
I hate
dots
meetings
above
too.
it, and those are used to give points depending on how high above the goal you reach. However, yeah, we don't want points. We care about speed, and so it is faster to. Ooh, that was not good. But it is faster to go towards the bottom of the goal, because then that animation that plays after you finish a level, this one right here, there's basically no animation if you get a minimum dunk, which is at the very bottom, versus getting it all the way at the top there, and it saves a few seconds every time you do it.
In the community, there's even like groups of people who are obsessed with going for min dunk versus max dunk. Some mid dunkers, but those are more rare.
Oh, shoot. Yeah, doors can kill enemies, and I specifically did not want to kill that enemy right there, because he has to hit those switches.
I think I've done that a lot in runs.
Yeah, it unfortunately happens more often than I would like. Also, something worth mentioning right here, you'll notice that as I run along the ground, after a certain amount of time, I start running faster. We call that getting sprint speed. And sprint speed is more than just having a faster running speed, it also lets you jump an entire tile higher. And so, getting sprint is very good for speed, but is also very important for getting through levels in very specific manners, because you will not be able to make specific jumps if you do not have that extra tile.
And it's really tricky to keep it in some levels, especially when there's not a lot of space to maneuver.
Yeah, like this level right here. I would not have been able to make that one jump about halfway through if I did not have sprint.
Implode. Never mind, I'll just send you an email back.
Sometimes you kind of have to like wiggle around in the air to keep sprint.
Yes, because if
Because how it works is...
You want to explain it? Yeah, go for it.
Moving around on the ground, like changing direction on the ground, will lose sprint, but for some reason doing it in the air doesn't make you lose sprint, so...
And this level is our first power-up. This power-up is called the Tiptoe. And the gist of it is this power-up lets you cling to walls and ceilings, lets you do wall jumps and such. And it's not relevant for this level, but if you hit the action button, you also enter a stealth mode, which lets you go through enemies without taking damage. So you will see that come up shortly. This game has a lot of power-ups, and you won't be seeing all of them, but you will be seeing most of them throughout this run.
Yeah, there's like one power-up that was added post-launch that doesn't really appear in here.
Yeah, which is unfortunate, because it's one of the better power-ups, but...
I really like it too.
Yeah. It lets you drop an item and teleport to it, but... speedrunning with it is complicated, so it's probably for the best. I don't have to worry about it. Yeah, and this right here will be another instance of just going off the side of the map because it's not locked off. And you can just skip a good chunk of it.
Also, I feel like this is a good time to mention. So these enemies are called blobfish, and there's a pole on the in the Tiltify.
Yes, and would you like the current totals for that?
Sure. Let's hear them.
Yep.
For Levelhead, Fate of the Blobfish. Blobfish?
I have no idea how to say it either.
Blobfish.
Yeah, that works.
We have Kill at $22.34 and Save at a nice round 80.
Yeah, so if there's any anti-blob people here, you're gonna have to donate.
Yeah, because I will mention there is a very specific blobfish we were talking about, and it shows up in the last level of the game, at the very end. And so we will not see the specific blobfish for another 30 minutes or so.
Yeah, so you've got time.
Not what I need to do. Okay. Alright, I'm leaving that shell there for a very specific reason, and you'll see why shortly.
I feel like I always screw up the skip here, or I don't do it very efficiently.
Yeah, this level is a tricky one to do well. I also forgot to grab the Sproing when I meant to, so I gotta do this casually. So yeah, that was the slower way of doing it. I meant to grab the spring that I left down here, carry it up with me to just skip that obstacle entirely, but
Yeah,
it's not too bad.
not too much of a loss.
Yeah, because, like I mentioned, you can just go over a lot of things in this game if they did not block off the ceiling.
If he had lost the shell, it would have been a much worse
Yes,
loss.
because it's worth mentioning shells in this game can also press down switches. So there's a lot of times where the game wants you to go find a box, come back, put it on the switch, but if you just kill an enemy and grab the shell, you can skip the box entirely. And that was one of those instances.
I know there's a super jump you can do here. Are you gonna go for that?
I am not, because I am bad at this specific super jump.
That's fair. It's kind of hard, so.
Yeah, it's a difficult super jump, and it saves at most like a second or two. All right.
I don't go for it personally.
This is a very difficult level. I gotta precisely maneuver through all of these saw blades by standing perfectly still. Because if you just stand in that one spot, none of them hit you.
Yeah, it's difficult normally, but also the speedrun is kinda crazy too.
Yep, because you just jump down here and skip half of it. Because since that level is entirely cycle-based, if you jump at the same time, you will make that every single time without fail. It is worth mentioning this game has almost no RNG. Oops. And so, if you see me mess up, it is entirely my own fault. I cannot get away with blaming RNG in this game.
Never mind, I'll just send you an email back.
There may be some frame rate dependent things, but I don't think many of them actually happen in the campaign.
Yes, and most frame rate related things only matter at very low FPSs, and I'm playing on an Xbox Series X, so I have very few lag issues on this console. But if I were playing on a weaker console like the Switch or like an original Xbox One, some of the more intensive levels tend to get dropped below 60 FPS. And if you drop below 60 FPS in this game, things don't always work the way they should.
Yeah. I want to say that clean runs of Swoopadoop Gulch are really satisfying to watch, the previous level. I don't know why.
The funny thing is, that wasn't even a super clean run of it. That was just a version without
It wasn't
depth.
perfect,
Yeah.
but it was decent.
Where this is another instance of skipping a good chunk of the level by using a shell, and using the up boost from throwing an item to make a jump I couldn't make otherwise.
And using the super jump at the beginning, I don't even think I knew about that skip,
Oh yeah,
which now seems so obvious.
it's worth mentioning there's a lot of several people who are still finding new strats for the levels in this game. That super jump was actually found by somebody not too long ago, actually. I want to say it was a couple months at most.
It's a pretty small speedrunning community, so...
Yeah. The community for the game as a whole is relatively small, but the people who speedrun the campaign is even smaller, unfortunately.
And people can also speedrun community-made levels, so most people tend to focus on doing those.
Yeah, because speedrunning a 30-second to minute-long level is much more digestible for the average person than a 40 to 50-minute speedrun at world record level. Oh, it takes over an hour for people who are less experienced.
Yeah, and also, if you try to speedrun any of the campaign levels, you're going up against into
Megan,
you
yeah,
a
I
bunch
don't
of
care
other
if you saw
people
that
who
anyway.
have speedrun all of them or most of them.
Yes. The best campaign speedrunner goes by the username Intuition, and if we reference him, it's because he either found the strat that we're using or is just way faster than us at it.
Does he currently have the record?
Yes, he currently does
For
have
any
the world
percent?
record.
What do you think the chances are of taking it back today?
Today, low. In general,
That's
also
what
low.
I figured. I think you can do it.
Yeah,
And
for
real
those
quick,
who
if
didn't
you
know,
have a moment,
go for it.
we have a $30 donation from Plants Guy, saying props to all of the runners and organizers throughout the event.
Yeah, it's awesome.
Yeah, I've been tuning in throughout the event this weekend, and there's been a lot going on. So props to everyone for putting this all together.
I'm really happy that we got to see the Muffet fight in Undertale.
Yeah, that one,
I
that
hate
was a
meetings too.
huge, like, that was a high dollar incentive. People went crazy for that one. I was actually pretty impressed.
There
They
was...
wish they would have gone less crazy for, the money fade incentive, but it is what it is.
And there was one... There was another one. Matthew shave his head, but that's...
Yeah,
kinda
that one
far
did not
away.
get met.
Yeah, I should mention.
But that
Just
does
let
put
you-
kill up to 5234.
Okay. All right, this level right here is one of the most infamous ones because it's one of the hardest levels to do quickly.
Oh, yeah. Keep Up Okay also had a kinda recent discovery for a new strat.
Which I just messed up, by the way, so you will not be seeing the second half of it. I got the first half of it, though. So you will have to see the old strat here.
The old strat is still pretty impressive.
Yes. So
Because this is, like...
what I did right there is the tiptoe can cling to the ceiling, and as part of that, you can ceiling super jump off of the package while ceiling cling to recharge your cling so you don't fall off. And so I had to do that twice in a row right there to get across that gap.
It's super stressful to do.
Yeah, because each death on that level, no matter where you die, loses about 10 seconds, if not more. So it's one of the worst levels to mess up, which is why it's so infamous.
If he had successfully done the new strat, there was actually an extra platform that was left in by the creators that was not supposed to be there, so you can catch up to that extra platform and stand on it if you're fast enough.
Yes, so the reason why I got sprint early on is to make that cycle, but because I hit one of the walls on the way down, I lost sprint, and so I had to resort to that old strat real quick. Also, we never mentioned it, this is the second power-up, the zipper. It just lets you do a short teleport in front of you, which also goes through walls. Which, as you can guess, is incredibly powerful for people who do not remember how the zipper works. Because if you do not actively make it so that they can't go through walls, you can absolutely just demolish any level with it.
Also, Plants Guy says he has no idea what he voted to kill, but wanted to make the poll closer.
Yes, everyone will become acquainted with the Blobfush after this run.
In the Levelhead community, there's two groups of people, some who love blobfish and some who despise them and think they're evil. They're wrong. The people who think they're evil, they're just wrong.
I am indifferent. I do not take place in the turf wars of the blobfish, personally. But those who do are very passionate about it. By the way, this is the first auto-scroller of the run. There's only about 2.5 auto-scrollers, but because of how powerful the editor tools are in this game, you have full control over the camera and its movements. Because you can see, not only is this an auto-scroller, it's going all over the place. It's not just going left to right or up and down. now we get to mess with bombs, one of the most difficult items to use quickly. Because they give you a lot of momentum when you use them correctly. But if you're at a slightly bad angle, they will also send you flying in that angle as well. Dang, I messed that up. Yeah, as you can see, very good for making you go fast, but you have to have the perfect angle to utilize it correctly.
Yeah, I don't think I've gone for the bomb strats on that.
Yeah, I always go for them.
I kind of just run through everything.
I always go for them, and I usually mess it up.
I think the most I've done is try to use the bomb off of the blobfish. That was a bunch of blobfish you all just saw at the end of the level. I try to use the bomb off of the blobfish, that's all.
Yes. And if you forget which enemies we're talking about, they are the weird blue floating things that show up from time to time in these levels.
I'll try to point them out. I don't know when we're gonna see another one.
Dang, I didn't make that cycle. This cycle is very annoying to get because it has very few visual cues as to if you're going at the right speed for it. But something also worth mentioning, we mentioned damage boosting earlier. Getting hit by something while you have armor also gives you a boost of speed, just like that. And so using it at specific times can give you extra height, it can give you just faster movement that you try to maintain, and so on.
Never mind,
Some
I'll
people
just send
don't
you
like it and think it's kind of annoying, but it's super fun for speedrunning.
Alright. We'll be
I
coming
know
up...
there's a crazy strat here, but probably not gonna go for it.
Yeah, doing this level quickly is very difficult because it's entirely involved around killing enemies quickly. And since it has so many different types of enemies in this level, it's very difficult to kill them all quickly. This is one of those levels where if I lose time on it during a run, I'm okay with it because I just expect it at this point. Also, after this level, I want to point out I will be doing something called a map warp, which I actually discovered this not too long ago. You notice how in between every level, you gotta have that little spaceship move, right? But by pausing while in an animation, you just instantly go to the next level without having to wait for that animation to finish. Because you have to open and close the settings menu, it takes time, and so it's not useful in many spots, but it's useful in about 3 levels in the entire campaign, and it saves a couple seconds each time, so...
I actually never knew that. That's super cool.
Yeah, I only found that about like a month or 2 ago, so it's understandable I didn't know about it. Yeah, I mentioned there's 2.5 auto-scrollers in this run. This is the half. Because it has auto-scroller section at the beginning and the end, but that middle section is specifically not an auto-scroller.
Skipping training seminars, you're a real go-getter.
Do Not Open is a fun level.
Yeah, I really like running this level, except for when I mess it up, because it's very frustrating when you mess it up, because it's a simple level that is difficult to optimize.
I've seen you mess it up.
I mess it up regularly, unfortunately. I should mention these enemies are called Pop Jaws. They're probably the most complex enemies in the game because they lock onto you and then teleport directly to where you're standing after a second or 2. And so you have to, whenever you have to kill them, you have to manually make sure you're not on top of them, dodge their attack, and then get into such a position that you can go and kill them.
Yeah, super fun to fight unless you're trying to go fast.
However,
although I don't know how many people agree with me that they're fun to fight regularly.
It's worth mentioning that the item that they drop is called a Pop Jaw Medallion, which lets you teleport after you throw it, which is what I'm doing here. by falling down that chute and then using the medallion, I can just skip the entire section that you're supposed to do in order to get the package. And just go back to right up to where you were.
Yeah, that's an important skip.
Greeting. I hate meetings too. Hmm?
Alright.
So normally you would see a bunch of cool animated cutscenes voiced by, I think, the artist of the game.
Yes, Sam
But
Coster.
since it's a
He's
speedrun,
one of
he's
the
skipping all of them.
developers for the game. This, by the way, is the third power-up in the run, the Waylay. It has that little dash
Yeah,
you
there's
can do.
some very cool strats.
Yeah, if you do, if
Like
you use,
here, he's gonna skip. You can say what you were gonna say.
yeah, I was gonna say that when you use the Waylay in midair, it does that diagonal dash, but if you use it on the ground, you do a horizontal dash. And if you do a horizontal dash while sprinting, which I did while off screen there, it gives you a huge speed boost. And so by using that, you can go very fast.
Yeah. The little robot guy he's controlling is called GR18. It's a package delivery robot in training, so all of these levels are supposed to, like, teach it the basics.
Yeah, the campaign in this game is called training, because you're training your GR18.
Yeah. And that basically sets up the whole level creation thing, because everyone is trying to create levels to train this robot.
In the intro cutscene, which I also skipped, they point out how this guy is your own personal GR18. And they bond for life. So you're stuck with him.
Yep.
Yeah, it's worth mentioning these conveyors. By utilizing the momentum, you can go a lot faster in certain circumstances. Ooh, dang it. Messed that up. I meant to keep sprint there so I could just dash into the goal, but that wasn't too bad. And now for everyone's favorite obstacle bumpers. You can tell how much I love them because if you don't get the precise angle correct, they just send you all over the place. So you gotta get directly above them in order to go straight up, otherwise you will get launched at an angle every time you hit it. The campaign, it does a great job of introducing you to most of the items that the editor gives you. Because, like, a lot of them are pretty self-explanatory, but a lot of them also very much aren't.
Yeah.
Like, that right there, that's a bad item. We do not want that item there. That makes us go slow. And I'm not just saying that from a speed perspective. It literally makes everything in the game go slower. But the timer still moves at the exact same speed, so there is no context you want it if you're trying to go fast.
There's another version of that item which isn't in the campaign at all, which you can hold, and it makes everything else go slow, but your character still goes the same speed.
Yes, that one's not bad because it doesn't slow you down as well. Also, this is another one of the most infamous levels in the campaign because it's just very long and easy to mess up.
This one.
But by doing this right here, we can just cut out a lot of stuff and just grab that box early.
Yeah, it doesn't seem too bad when you know what you're doing, but if you're just kind of trying to figure out the run, it seems super complicated.
Yeah, this is not a simple level. Because you gotta go up, you gotta grab those 3 batteries specifically, and then make your way back up to the top to the goal once you grab the package. And since it's a bunch of moving platforms with obstacles, it's very easy to mess up and just miss the cycle you're trying to make. But it's also worth mentioning that these platforms give you momentum based on the direction they're moving, so it lets you make jumps that you wouldn't otherwise be able to make on your way back up.
That can help or hurt you. but if you know how to use it right, definitely help.
Alright, now for the most interesting skip in the run, in my opinion.
And this was recently discovered, right?
This is a recent discovery. Ooh, my timing's a little weird. Nope. Ooh, I don't have as much time for this as I would like.
Super hard to pull off, but definitely worth it if you can.
Yes. There we go. Yes, by doing a very weird and specific damage boost, you get enough height to just go over top of the map and just skip most of the level. Oops. Grab that checkpoint because I don't trust myself to not mess this up.
That's smart.
Yeah, because this level normally takes 55 seconds to a minute. If you do everything
Very good that you got the checkpoint.
Yes. If you do everything in that level perfectly, it takes less than 25 seconds. And even with all of those mistakes, it took me 35 seconds. So doing that skip saves a lot of time. Also, we never mentioned it, but these things that have those little icons pop up, those are called vendors, and they give you icons to use for both your profile and levels. And so if you're playing through the campaign, that's basically your reward in the editor for playing through.
Yeah, in early access, you actually, I think, unlocked items to use in the editor by playing the campaign, which was pretty much the only reason I played the campaign at first.
Yeah, but I think it's for the best that they changed that once the game launched.
Definitely. I don't think most people would really play through the campaign to find out there's more to the game.
Yeah, this level is an interesting one because you're supposed to like go through all those 4 directions, but you can just go around the side there and just skip one of them. And then,
this was a super intimidating level when I first played, and it still is kind of intimidating.
It's a tough one, yeah. But once you get like the specific cycles and everything down that you can deal with personally, it's not that bad. It's one of those levels where you can use the same strat that like the fastest people use, but it's best just to develop something that works for you. Because unless you're go for it.
In the campaign, there's these things called on-time deliveries. So it's like a built-in speedrun, beat this time to unlock everything. Actually, I think it's just an achievement.
Yeah, actually, I don't remember if you need it for any vendors or not. It's been a while since I 100% the game casually.
I did too, and it was it's possible, but it's kind of rough trying to do it casually when you don't know the speed routes.
Yeah, I can agree with that, because like once you know the skips, some of these levels are very, very short, but you would never find them on your own unless you know all of the tech already. Also, this one's a fun level to speedrun, because it's a code level where you're supposed to go through the level, find like which ones you're supposed to hit, like with these boxes, but I already know all the ones to hit, so I just go to the end usually. And grab the package and go.
See, someone making a custom level in this game would fix this by making the code random, which is possible with the editor, but not actually used in the campaign.
Or they just make the code a mystery and... I messed up the cycle for this level. I'm just gonna reset. They might just make the code a complete mystery so you have no way to find it out in the first place. Those are the fun kinds of levels. No sarcasm
Those
at
levels
all.
do exist too. There is actually someone who's well known. Yeah, go ahead.
I was gonna say there's a few uncleared community levels that are just code levels. You have no way of finding out how to beat them. That's why they're uncleared. This level's a fun one because it's built specifically around not killing any enemies, but it gives you all the tools needed to kill enemies, like that, and if you kill an enemy, you just die. Because this electro shield is what it's called. The idea behind it is if you touch an enemy with it, you instantly kill it instead of taking damage. which when you're trying not to kill enemies is actually an obstacle.
It's very cruel. Luckily, these big blobfish that he just went over have multiple hits, so...
Yep, and the game sets up eye switches, which send a signal based on what's near them, but they require the enemies to stay alive for some of them, and that's how they're able to tell whether the enemies are alive or dead.
Yeah, there's a lot of awesome stuff you can do with the game's editor. Like full logic. Someone, I don't know how, made a full 8-bit CPU.
Yeah, they get pretty crazy with this game sometimes. Also, wow, I just didn't grab up. Cool. Yeah, this level introduces the next power-up, the Ripcord. When you hold the action button, you glide down, and if you hold jump while midair, you get the little jetpack.
It's a really cool power-up.
Yeah, it's probably the most simple from like a normal platformer perspective, but it's very useful. Also, right here, that was a pixel jump. That's how I landed right next to that spike without hitting it. Only time we used it in the run, unfortunately. But the way that works is obstacles in this game don't take up a full tile. They have a circular hitbox, I think, or at least something closer to that. And so at the edges of them, they have little gaps that you can stand next to them if they're on top of a normal block.
So here's an interesting skip, which might not happen. Yep.
That right there is the hardest skip in the run that I go for.
Yeah, so it's possible to go under the level, but it's not, for some reason, not as forgiving or as easy as going over the level boundaries.
Because,
so
the way it...
Yeah.
Oh, swoop-a-doop, just wrecking me right now. Okay, there we go. But the reason is, when you go under the map, it kills you basically within a tile or two, and you don't have really any leeway. But if you use the Ripcord specifically, you can just finagle your way back up if you time things perfectly, and so you can, within that one tile, you just manage to get back up, back into the map. While all of the other areas, since you're not affected by gravity, you can easily go in and out at will, instead of being pulled toward the death zone. And then this is a level that was built around like hovering, so you don't hit these fireballs and stuff. We're just gonna do a free fall real quick.
Yeah, just a simple free fall. No big deal.
Oh, I just wanted that armor.
Thing Like a Bee is one of my favorites.
It's one of those levels where it's very fun to play when it goes well. When it goes poorly is very frustrating.
I just think it's a really neat brawler.
Yeah, like especially when you're trying
I'm not too good at running it.
When you're trying to speedrun it, it has a lot of specific bomb throwing angles and stuff like that, which makes it very interesting when you learn all that. But if one thing goes wrong, then your whole strategy gets messed up and you just have to wing it from there on out. And then here's a level that's centered around explosions and the boosts they give you. Ooh, I did not
and
want to end up in that.
To let people know again, since we've got some more Levelhead people coming in, there's actually a poll at the Tiltify link where you can choose whether Sam kills or saves the blobfish in the final level.
Yes.
Yeah, you can go ahead.
Yep, it's at $52.34 for kill and $80 for save. And we also, at the same time, got a $20 donation from Pure Nix. And it simply says, Sam hype.
Thanks, PK. Appreciate it. Pure Nix or PK as we also call him, he is one of the top creators for the game. He makes a lot of really good levels. He's one of the top streamers for the game.
Yep.
All around, just one of the top community members as a whole.
He also started something, I think he started it, called the Power Build, which happens every Sunday. Everyone's given a theme and an hour, though that's not really like a hard limit. It's kind of more of a suggestion
Quotes around
to build a level for that. Around an hour. I usually take like 5.
And this level is a level that's very fun in concept, where it's like you have to trick the cannons into shooting enemies and stuff and killing them for you. In reality, it sucks because speedrunning it means you have to have the cannons fire at very specific angles to get all the enemies properly. And then with these flapjacks, since they're just jumping up and down, sometimes they just don't want to get hit by the cannons. Oops, meant to do that. Alright. Alright, that wasn't too bad. A little rough, but not the worst.
I think that last part is probably the hardest part.
It's the most in your control, which by extension makes it the hardest. Also, here's the candidate for the best level name in the entire campaign, Grand Theft Grotto. Because it is worth mentioning.
I like how you...
Oh, what were you saying?
How you just go through all of those eye switches like it's no big deal, because you're actually supposed to avoid them, but...
Yes. It's worth. What I was gonna say is it's worth mentioning. This game does not have a free naming system for levels. Instead, it gives you a list of like tons of words, like all the level objects, like tons of nouns, verbs, etc., etc. And you have to stitch together levels using those. And so while it's a lot less free than like a normal free naming system, it allows for a lot of funny level names that just would not have come around otherwise.
Yeah, it's really good for naming inspiration. I probably wouldn't come up with as creative level names if I wasn't forced to. PK is hyped for Grand Theft Grotto.
I don't blame him. It's a long level, but it's a fun one to do well. It's got some nice one-tile gaps to throw through, which are very precise and annoying to do quickly, but that's okay. Alright, and this is the last map warp.
Employee skipping training seminars.
That one's the shortest one. It only saves about half a second or so, but with that, we are coming up on the last power-up of the run shortly here. It is called the Rebound.
Yeah, the Rebound.
So we do have an important change here to note. Kill is now ahead with $82.34.
Uh-oh.
Thanks to a $30 donation from Luai. Seeing Illegallysam run Levelhead is always a treat. Sick.
Thank you, Luai.
That's great.
Luai is also another one of the top creators. Hasn't been around as long as PK has, but has made...
Still an awesome member of the community, though.
Has also made a huge impact on the community. By the way, as you can see...
And is apparently not a fan of the Blobfish.
Yep.
Can't say I blame him.
There's a lot of people who aren't fans.
Yeah. But with this last power-up here, as you can see, its whole gimmick is it can fire those projectiles in front of it. And not only can those projectiles, hit enemies and damage them, it also knocks you back, giving you height and speed. In addition to the fact that you can bounce off of those projectiles as a platform as well.
And they can activate switches. There's a lot that it can do.
Some people aren't a fan of this one, but personally I really like it.
I'm gonna be honest, I'm one of the people who's not a fan, but you don't see it that much in the campaign, so it's not too bad.
Yeah, because it allows for a lot of really cool movement by utilizing both the projectiles as something to bounce off of and also in terms of the momentum. But I
And
can,
using them to block the missiles for you.
yes, but I can also very much understand why people aren't a huge fan of them, because the knockback is very awkward to get used to.
We have another change. $5 has been donated by Anonymous for Save the Fish. It is
Thank
now
you.
82.34 to 85.
I should note that we're on the last couple levels now.
It's getting donations until right before the end, I guess.
Yeah, it's gonna be
The Squid Games theme starts playing.
Yeah.
because this is the third to last level. It is worth noting, and also the last auto scroller.
Well, somebody really wants to save the fish. Noob Junior, $50. Levelhead is cool. Save is now up 135
Wow.
to 82.34 for kill.
Okay.
Thank you, Noob.
Noob Jr., also one of the top creators. It's worth noting, the second to last level in the campaign is in fact a troll level.
It's a
Which-
really good control level, too.
Like, as a casual, if you like troll levels, it's a fun level. If you don't like troll levels, you won't like it because it's a good troll level. But it's also fun to
True.
speedrun when you know all of the traps and tricks and everything.
Yeah, it's harder to enjoy it as a troll level when you just know how to play it and it's basically a normal level.
Yeah. But even as a speedrun, you can see a lot of the little things popping up here and there. And this right here is the last level.
Okay. It's time.
They give
The
you a little
blobfish will
stakeout.
be at the end.
Yes, blobfish is at the very end of this level.
There's actually a way to beat this level in 10 seconds, but it's banned in any percent runs because it's just kind of lame.
Yeah, it shoots you out of the final level. That doesn't mean there's no skips, because you skip a good chunk of the level there, but... Because, like,
Yeah.
part of the whole gimmick with this
With
level
that
is
super jump.
there's a section for each power-up, and so it's like a huge finale. It's like, here's every power-up, you gotta go through everything. We just skip the entire tiptoe section. And go straight to ripcord here. But we're
Yeah,
on-
it's Fush. Or Foosh. I don't know. It's with a U. I don't know if anyone knows how to pronounce it.
Yeah, it's... The Waylay here gets a nice brawler section to kill some enemies. And then here we do our second shell jump of the run. Don't use it too much.
I've always wanted to make a level like that brawler section.
By using the rebound here, we can kill most of the enemies right away. Right into the wall. And then use a pop medallion.
Yeah, the
to
more
get
used,
down.
the better in Fush.
And then... Save is still winning, I'm assuming, so...
Yeah, I think so.
There's the blobfish.
In chat, Arid Arbel 2 says the way you pronounce it is evil.
So clearly not a fan.
And that, by the way, with the ending of that level, that is time right there. And we see our little
All
blobfish
right.
friend right here.
4729.
He gets to live.
That's pretty good.
He gives us a nice
But
congratulations.
actually, it came out, oh, that's close, 39 seconds ago. We did have Luai trying to save it. I mean, kill it, rather.
Uh,
But it was a little too late, I think.
I think it might be.
The blobfish gets to live to see another day.
It does.
for now.
Thank you for the run.
Yeah, no problem. It was fun.
And then we just had somebody come with $5 for save, so...
Okay.
If we were to allow late donations, we win anyways. Everybody, we're done with it now.
Sorry, Luai.
Poor Luai.
Yeah,
Well, thank you guys so much for running. It was a delight to watch it. I swear to God, that thing's cheerful little face is hilarious. I love it. It's so cute. Do you have
Thank
anything
you for
to say?
hosting the event.
Yeah, and thanks for
You're
having
welcome.
us.
This is, yeah, it's been great. Thanks I always say thank you for you guys are doing the work. I only have to sit here and read things that pop up on a screen. You guys have to do actually difficult work playing these games and practicing. So
I'm just talking.
thank you.
Yeah, I feel like at the end here, the one thing us Levelhead community likes to do is try and get people to join us. So I should
Yeah.
mention this game is available on most platforms, as in basically everything under the sun except the PlayStation. It's on Xbox, PC, Switch, mobile, all the above. Yeah, it's a very fun game. There's a lot of people making a lot of great levels out there. So even if the campaign isn't your thing, you'll be able to find something in this game for you, because whether you like making levels or playing levels, there's always something to do. And we all meet in the everyone who's active, we all talk in the Butterscotch Shenanigans Discord, which is the developer for this game. And you have anything else to add, Cashew?
Well, even if you're not interested in Levelhead or their other games, it's still an awesome place to be. Sometimes they just hang out, talk about random stuff. They play Jackbox.
Yeah.
Luai says join us.
Yeah, when I say it's a community around Levelhead, it really is a community. It's not just a bunch of people playing the game, making levels, and sharing them. It's a lot more than that. Because as you can see, Levelhead started up, and a ton of people from the community showed up to show support here. So, there's a lot of great people.
Absolutely.
And it's very tight knit. So, feel free to come say hi.
And we appreciate all of it. Definitely do so. We'll be on for a little bit here later if you want to drop those links in the chat for people to show. I don't have any restrictions on that, so
Okay.
got any place you want to send them, go ahead.